All right, it is the crossover brought to you by California Academy of Sciences. Every visit supports the Academy's mission to regenerate the natural world. Learn more and reserve your ticket at calacademy.org. It is time for the crossover.
My guys!
Dibs and Willard in the house. Gentlemen, how are you?
Steiny, yeah. Did you use what I texted you as ammunition against your partner?
Oh, no.
I ended up using it, yes.
Okay, well, I thought I heard you use it, but you didn't reference the fact that I gave it to you on a platter.
Plagiarism.
On a flipping platter, babe. I
What
thought
did
maybe
he
you could be
use
like...
that you tried to say it was your own.
All I said was Jonathan Kuminga got better with the trade. Because you guys were doing the whole, are they better?
But what about with Davis? He's a big body from Indiana. What if he comes to 23 years old? What if
I just was talking about
comes in and takes Kuminga's minutes?
Okay.
Good.
I hear you.
As soon as
That'll
that
mean he's
trade was
better.
announced, Jonathan Kuminga got better.
I hear you.
That's all I was saying. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. And he didn't credit me about
we
that.
don't have
I
a
remember who
mandate
said
on
that
what
to
we're
you
going to
last
talk
week.
about
Yeah,
ever.
that's
And I missed it because you guys were at the draft.
Never mind. I
Like the
brought that up to you.
17th
Listen.
time.
Yeah.
Just like when I was the first one to compare Wiseman to Lance, and all of you rubes ran with that.
Oh, boy.
I was the first one to come
Oh,
up with that comp.
I don't
I
remember
just-
that.
I was working from home with you two slubs at the time.
I'm going to just start calling
Thank
people
you.
I work with in this industry Equifax. Everybody wants credit.
Yeah, that's a
It's
four.
like, no, but my guy just...
Except
If you're ever
Experience.
right about something, you'll want it also.
Well, Willard, why are you laughing? Don't
well,
give
no.
us-
I'm first of all because it was funny, but second of all, I've actually made fun of all of us. I've made fun of sports radio for years
Thank you.
because when we do get something right, and we sit here and talk all day,
Nuggets
it's
at
like
5.
if you can't get something right once in a while, how ridiculous would that be? When we get something right, I mean, we are on a street corner with a neon sign. We're doing laps
boy.
around the building. We'll dedicate 3 weeks of shows to I Was Right. However, we're also wrong every day.
That's-
And everyone just sweep that under the rug. Just
and all
act
it is
like
is
it
an
never-
opinion.
No, I mean-
It's going to be two things, Dibs. You can be right or wrong.
Right. So every time you're wrong, you've got, never go full Jeff. Austin, it's San
Oh,
Jose.
my God, never go. I love
all
them.
the rest of those guys are just waiting to pounce. So when you do get one right, Nuggets in 5, or Draymond and Poole
Dirty
won't both
stuff.
be on the roster, and all the other things I've gotten right, I'm going to blow my own horn too.
Yeah.
What if neither of them are on the roster?
Well, then that's equally true.
No.
If
I
they
guess.
both won't be and
There's
neither
no
is,
way.
then
Not
that's...
if, not if Draymond signs with Washington. How about
But
that?
they wouldn't have did what they did with Poole,
That hurts.
not knowing they had a wink.
I wouldn't think.
Right, but they might have had a wink,
They've
wink.
had that man's back at every turn. For him to go somewhere else,
You wouldn't think.
They might have had a wink, wink. Till the Sacramento Kings
Okay.
cleared more
Listen,
money.
listen. I ain't ready for this.
I would be
mean,
shocked.
seriously.
I would be shocked, just like I would be completely shocked.
Stunned.
But let's not act like stuff like this hasn't happened before. I mean, the DeAndre Jordan experience, Carlos
They were in his
Boozer.
house, yeah.
I can unequivocally tell you that in free agency, the night before it got announced, the Clippers thought Kobe Bryant was on their team. And I'm telling you, they would have Sharpie. We
He
got
wanted
him.
out. Remember
Guys,
that? Yeah.
we got him. We did it. Kobe's a Clipper. Sharpie, people, champagne. We did it. Congrats.
Oh,
Unbelievable.
man.
Next day they woke up. He stays with the Lakers.
It has-
So you never know.
It's
You
happened
never
to the
know.
Warriors. Baron Davis.
yeah.
Baron Davis walked out because nobody thought he was going to walk away from $17 million.
And bam.
And he walked out because the Clippers offered him $64 back in the day, which was unheard of. What is Sharpie?
Like it's
Oh,
done.
oh,
it's
yeah.
done.
Yeah, it's a pen.
Terrell
It's a
Owens.
pen. It's permanent pen. Yeah, it's permanent pen. Yeah.
Hey, can I switch it up? Because I was gone a week and I missed getting off my takes. So I just want to let you two know. We come in here, we give opinions, we all go through different trials and tribulations in our life, and you try to get it right. But what I try to do is just be honest and give you my honest assessment. The San Francisco Giants are doing something special. And I now believe, just a couple words I jotted down, formula. They have a formula that I watch a whole lot of other baseball, and when I watch their batters at the plate, not perfect, they have, I believe they're following a formula, okay? They got like 10 dudes I would trust with the game on the line. And now I'm starting to wonder if the 107, if last year's 500 was the anomaly.
Hey, you want to stay till 6?
No, I
because
I did it last week. I did it last week.
Did you?
I just said, hey.
I'm really starting to wonder.
I had to bring my own barf bag.
What if last year was the fluke? All you haters.
Someone hate me.
What if last year?
And I'm part of it because I said, oh my God. But dude, explain what's. I know it's not over.
Well, okay. What if we split the difference?
God, I didn't know
Steiny, don't leave me, Steiny. Don't leave me.
Split the difference.
Give it to.
Okay. 2021, very good baseball team that probably had enough things go their way where that win total got.
But 107 is a lot.
Right, but it got injected because they weren't the best Giants team of all time. 107, like a few things went their way. I think they were very good. They were 98 wins worthy at least, but it ended up at 107. Last year, maybe sort of a reverse takes place where I think they were probably 88 win team that ended up with 81.
Felt like they lost 100.
Right. So this year, I think it's headed to what is actually probably a more normalized, accurate view of who they are, except the formula of 21 is now being used by also what I think are some good baseball players.
Man.
Like, this is a better roster than they had in 2021. I'll also say, though, some of the people who were doing good things in 2021 were like, oh, this career year by some Yahoo we've never heard of. A few of those guys this year are like, actually, we're good baseball players. Lamont Wade's a good player.
No doubt. Yeah.
Buster Posey's having an equal year.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean,
Brandon Crawford's having the same year he had in 21.
No, they're not. But this is they've got an infusion of some young players, so there's a different energy around it.
Sure.
But Austin Slater in 21, you're like, what the hell is
guy can't even run?
Now he's hitting. He's hitting almost 400. He's a good baseball player. So
and they're a good baseball team.
It's a little formulaic. I think they've got things they value, and they teach those players to do them well. They are very.
Dibs. I thought they were going to pull that comeback off yesterday. It's that old Yankee Stadium. These are the hardest 27 outs.
Right.
But we've seen it even in St. Louis, and they didn't do it, but they're
St.
hot.
Louis stinks.
Yeah, I know they do. But Steiny, when you come back with one in the ninth,
who doesn't stink in terms of
Diamondbacks?
Well, they ran the Dodgers and
the Padres.
They handled the Diamondbacks and they
struggling.
smashed the Padres.
Yeah.
So
that's why I was confused why I used the Cardinals.
Right, and this is my point.
Oh no, it was just an at bat. They came back the last at bat.
We're going to talk about this. I think during the show we were just touring the new studio, so we're all kind of like,
how was that?
It's gorgeous.
Beautiful.
It's all you people on YouTube and Twitch are going to be blown away at the
Is
views.
it like that?
10th floor vistas. It's gorgeous.
Do I look at? Can I see them, or will my back?
You
still
can see them.
Okay.
You can
Well,
see.
you have a choice.
Well, and
on certain
I
days, if you don't want to look at them, you don't have to.
I made the choice.
And then other days, you can.
For all of us in the number 2 chair, the power chair is even better positioned. You're going to love the view. And Tim Jordan actually told me, because I naturally went to a further away spot. He's like, why don't you sit here? I got too much of Grandy and too much of Lucas. But
so could the fat cam be gone or minimized?
That's the hope.
I've asked for the cameras to be switched.
Because we came around, I'm going to be just straight honest with you. I can tell, sitting in the room with you, I can tell the soda is working.
Well, 15 pounds. But
15 pounds is 15 pounds. But we walk down the hall here where the first thing we do is see you on camera.
Don't do it.
I'm like, oh, Goo's wearing orange. Like, I mean, you can just. It's like, man, this camera is just camera's crushing you.
I saw Steiny the other day. Boy, that was Steiny sitting right over here with Edro.
You know what Mark really said? We're walking down the hall and he goes,
I can take it.
Is Shaq in for Goo?
Boy. I just
and I was like, it's that damn camera.
Get a ball to Kobe and
everybody
back out.
That's a solid 4. What I was going to ask Mark and all of our listeners, and you guys can weigh in as well, because this is a question I think you can ask periodically throughout the year. Which team right now, as we sit, June 26th, is closer to winning a championship? Because to me, the answer now is the Giants, because of what you talked about, and they're obviously closest to their own postseason. They're closer than the Niners and the Warriors from a calendar standpoint.
But the Niners just won the NFC championship. We're in the NFC championship game.
I would still say
but they got
to.
I mean, the Niners have
Because we don't know
quarterback
if
questions.
this is real or sustainable.
But we don't know who's going to be the quarterback for the Niners. We think it's Brock Purdy coming off of surgery, and we think off of 8 games that Brock's just going to be Brock, and he's going to be better than ever.
I don't think that, but I do. But I do think that they are one of, what do you want to call it, 7 or 8 teams that probably are going to be the Super Bowl champ this year. Plus, you're in the NFC, where if I just said, forget the 49ers and Eagles for a second, give me one other team where you're like, you would bet it all that they're at least going to be good.
Dallas.
Seattle.
Okay, but how confident are you?
With the additions they made.
Not as confident as saying the 49ers are going to be good.
Yeah, and even if I gave you theirs,
what about
it's like,
Giants? Okay. Yeah, okay. All right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, even if I gave you those, that's 4 teams.
No,
we got 7 playoff teams to come out of that conference. And
it's down right now.
You would think that there, and I know it never works this way, but you would think if a good journey and blessed with health and all those things, there's a couple of teams in the NFC that just need to win 2 or 3 games, and poof, they're in the Super Bowl.
I'd say the Giants. Just from some practical things, like right now, like I know the 49ers are supposed to be good, but they haven't started their season.
Yep.
I don't think, you can make a case that since their 6-13 start, they are, who knows, they could be. It looks like I'm a firm believer, especially baseball now. You get in, you got a shot. They're closer to going in than the 49ers at this point. And I also do think that the 49er quarterback situation would be, if the 49ers had like a real good quarterback, I would say maybe.
Okay,
but the Giants right now are closer
that was kind of my point.
Literally than any other team.
Yeah, but you're saying it in terms of, we now believe, as we sit here today, we feel good about the Giants' chances to end up in the playoffs.
Yeah, but not more than the Niners.
But that's just getting to the playoffs.
Niners is all love,
right? So like, if I said, okay, the 49ers also are going to have a good enough journey where they end up in the playoffs, who do you feel better about navigating that playoff experience?
That's interesting.
That's a coin toss.
That is. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way.
Really?
Just because, baseball's the sport where it allows for a team getting hot with a hot pitcher more than. I kind of feel like the best team wins in football.
You don't often get 4 fluky wins in football. In baseball, you can get a hot pitcher, a hot bat, a good
10,
matchup.
12, and 14 on line 1.
I guess I'm going to need to see a couple new starters.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Before I believe the Giants can navigate the Braves.
Part of what makes this fascinating to me, too, is that nobody has said the Warriors yet. And they're the team that's got the most recent chips. They've had 4 titles since the Giants and the Niners had even one.
Yep.
And yet we don't even mention them.
And I got to give my partner credit here, because I sound like I need therapy, but I only need therapy because I've been in denial about the Warriors. They've never had the Dibs, penny pinch. And now that's a real thing because of the rules that are good. So I believe the Chris Paul thing was enticing to the Warriors because of the salary dump, if I could call it that. Like, that was a part of it. It wasn't just 100% basketball. And that's what has me like, that's going to keep you from going Spider-Man. We're at the bottom, we'll climb right back up the wall. Well, now you can't, because they got other injunctions in there to where you got to just kind of almost pay the price.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco and Odyssey Station. Dibs?
Always live on YouTube, Twitch, and the Odyssey app.
Free Odyssey app.
It's still free?
It's still free.
Because Peacock's not free anymore.
No.
I don't know if you heard.
Not free?
Starting today, Peacock's hitting you for $4.99. That was big news in our house this morning.
Oh, no. So you must have had a different carrier. It's always been $4.99 for the Johnsons.
Oh.
Yeah. And you pay $6.99 for no commercials.
Yeah,
I thought it was $8.99.
I got it tucked into my TV subscription.
So you've been paying for it anyway, yeah.
Well, no, it was anyway, whatever.
If you had it a la carte, if you had it just as a one-off, the free Peacock was free.
I got it.
But now Le Coq du Pie is no longer free.
Not the free copy.
By the way,
thank you. That's a 4.
Yeah.
The Giants game, they're replaying the play on 3rd that the Giants challenged.
Yeah. I still think he was safe.
What is
I do too. Why are Kruk and Kipe and everybody saying it looks like you got him on the bill of the cap? And I'm like, how do you see that?
That tag said the cloth, the bill of the cap was touched before that foot actually came down on that base.
How do you know that?
I don't know. Yeah,
They showed the replay.
No, I didn't see it.
It's really hard.
When they slow it, I don't see it, Bob.
To
But when
me,
they
that
slow
was
it
the
down-
definition of inconclusive.
I agree completely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, they had another
Like
one.
even when you're like, his glove is touching the bill, you're like,
And then
is
you
it?
look.
Is it?
And
Like
then you
from
look at his
that
hands
angle,
there.
your Dibs. How do
From
you
that-
defend them?
You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
indefensible.
And then you yell at the ump. He had nothing to do with the call being changed or overturned.
And that's the problem. And you're asking these men, I would say men and women, but MLB's dragging their feet on actually having a female ump. And shame
wow.
on you, Rob Manfred. You're telling me that a female couldn't stand there with her hands in her pockets and blow calls at any of the various bases? I digress. What we're asking these individuals to do versus microscopic slow motion replay,
Right.
it's unfair. So Mark had this on our show thread this morning. I'm feeding baby girl her food. Shout out her one tooth. And I saw it. I'm going, you know what, Mark? It's time. No more human umps. So now we can all be mad at the machine because the machine's going to get them wrong too.
I don't blame the umps for this at all. I don't blame
It's
them
the
for them at all.
system, which is stupid.
But what I do think is, of all the sports that we talk about, baseball is, in theory, the easiest to officiate. It is the slowest moving with the fewest people in the way when you need to make a call. Plus, your calls are largely factor fiction. Not all, but you are
Factor fiction.
Well, there's not. It's
That's not subjective.
Pass
Was that a
interference,
hold or, you
right?
know?
Pass interference.
He's right.
Oh, no, yeah.
Okay, did the foot hit the base first or not? Was the ball inside the box or not? It's math.
Well, there is no box.
It's math.
I know, but there is.
Okay.
There is if we do robo.
Not when you're squatting there and you're worried about 97 hitting you in the face.
Look,
there's no box.
The bottom line is I don't blame the umps for one half of this or even 80% of this. But if you're going to put the box on TV and we're going to be able to have all the slow-mo factor fiction answers, then you can't keep sticking these people out there for the quote-unquote human element, because all it does is serve to frustrate all of us when we can see, like I hate that on Twitter every night, well, this ump missed it by an inch and a half. It's like the ball's going 100 miles an hour. I'm not going to blame the ump. He can't see the box, but we can, so we get ticked off, and everybody's frustrated. The other side where I will blame the umps is and I've talked about this many times, the culture in baseball with their officials is so much more holier than thou than it is in the other sports. I can go up to an NFL referee if I'm an NFL player and get in their face. We can have a conversation.
And not get penalized.
NBA refs have a certain amount of time before they're going to tee you up. They might think of your resume as well. But in baseball, there's this culture. Yeah. If you look at me, if you look at me and even think about questioning my strike call, I'm going to throw you out of the game. And it's nauseating.
So what's in theory, if we went to robot umps, if they did, what would a play at second look like, or a play at home? Like where do you look up in the stadium to see, okay, was I out at second on the steal?
Well, you would have to put a sensor in the base and in the ball and
like,
put
that's
sensors
the
on the
part
uniform. That way, you can't do it on the base. Those calls, like the call like Steiny's talking about at third, did the glove touch the bill of the cap or not? I mean, who knows?
That call is non-umpable. Like, you can't.
Which one?
The one a third that we're talking about. It's like, if he calls him safe or if he calls him out, it's like
the ball beat him. You're out.
Wasn't right or wrong. Like, these things are so close.
Sometimes, but how are we going to review over the weekend when Brandon Crawford, clearly beats the other player to the base?
That hurt me, man.
And they review it and come back with, he's safe.
Even Kruger,
what are we doing?
Sad, man.
I don't know. And we never got to talk about it because Chris Paul got traded to the Warriors right before we were about to discuss it. But that ridiculousness against the Padres last week with Tatis throwing the home plate. And I love Giants fans who are like, no, read the rule, Mark. I'm like, I don't care what the rule is. If that's the rule, it's a stupid rule.
He's out by 10 feet. Blake Sable,
Thank you.
The Giants did a great job of knowing the idiosyncrasy of the idiotic rule. But if a ball beats you by 7 feet and they're waiting for you at home plate, I played baseball since I was a kid. You're out.
And what about this? I'm out of challenges, but Dibs, because it's the 8th or 9th, I can go ahead and get them to give me a challenge, like a review. You're out of them. But you get the sympathy one, huh? Oh, you're out.
I guess.
It's important now. Dude, baseball, man. No, you're out. You don't get any more.
And it's a shame because baseball, and I heard you, Steiny, last week or the week before, raving about the pitch clock, and you're so
It's
right
incredible.
because you said it, and I was going to steal it, but I don't do that like you do.
Oh, boy.
But it might have saved baseball. The pitch clock might have saved the sport because if you're a younger person and you know that baseball is now 2.5 and not 3:07, you're more likely to watch it because baseball, it moves, da-da-da.
But here's the thing about the pitch clock.
You're welcome.
And I think I can say this safely. It's not just the younger generation. I think the older generation likes it too. And that's what the big worry
No
was.
doubt.
Well,
Old
hell
school
with the
versus
older
new school.
generation, honestly.
Well,
Well, but I'm saying
that's how this society goes.
Having the older generation is now gravy. It's done.
Well, let's not act like it. I'll speak for me at age 48. Let's not act like I'm not addicted to my phone too.
Man,
Dude,
Like my attention
48
span
already?
My attention span.
not 55. But go ahead, dude.
easy. I'm 54.
Something with a 5. Anyway, right? Like
No, you're right about that, too.
Our attention spans have changed also. Absolutely.
Larry Krueger had a great tweet yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw
Well,
it.
he doesn't have many, so go ahead and say it out loud.
The Giant game, he gave love to the pitch clock. It was an hour, 58 minutes, maybe 2:08. We'll say 2:08. But he did say something that hit me in the cardiac muscle. It was a little too fast for him yesterday's game. And I said, that's old school baseball.
Some of them
like,
are.
Steiny, you're getting in and out when, can I stay a little longer? I felt him on that one.
What time did Sunday
stay.
night baseball start last
the
night?
grounds crew.
It was 4:07.
Oh, it was
4:07.
Okay, because I took notice that Astros-Dodgers game went, 11 innings, and it was over at like 7 o'clock.
That's too-
And I was
see,
like, hold on
time
a
for
second.
60 minutes.
I thought maybe it started at 5. And I was like,
Andy
did they just play
Rudy.
11 innings in 2 hours? But even still, you play 11 innings in 3
But
hours.
I felt what he was trying to say, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's going, sometimes it can be a little too fast.
Again,
Gibbs.
if you go to the game, and you want to go get nachos and you miss an inning and a half,
Or you
that's
could come with me, you
Go
and
watch
Jude,
batting
and
practice.
you won't get anything.
Go watch
Willard.
batting practice before the game and watch the grounds crew dismantle the
Yeah,
turf
but you know
after
what I mean.
before the ushers say get out.
I'm trying not to be Westbrook. You mentioned something about Brock Purdy, and I got to be careful here. Casey Schmidt, he hit the ground running. They've made adjustments to him, and he ain't the only baseball player. He could be a future All-Star. Are you looking at Brock Purdy like that, even after the 2 playoff games and the 8 wins, that there could be an adjustment to him?
Yes. Yes, how could there not be? And I mean, is Brock
He has
Purdy
so much around
is
him, is
Brock
why I
Purdy going to
say-
go 17-0?
No, hell no.
Brock Purdy already, if you just look at the schedule, he is facing more adversity just based on the schedule than they did last year. They've got 5 games, I believe, that are 10
Start in
a.m.
Pittsburgh,
East
yeah.
Coast. You start in Pittsburgh, and teams now have film on you. So to think that every team's not going to adjust to Brock Purdy, I think is short-sighted. It's
But
not
you
to
got
say
so
that he
much
can't.
around you, though, to help that
Right. It
adjustment.
doesn't mean that he can't adjust to the adjustment, but I think things are going to be tougher for Brock Purdy now than they were last December and January.
That's a different question in the sport of football, though. When you talk about an adjustment to a baseball player where you're like,
Oh, my gosh.
he's got a
Yeah.
hole in
Oh,
this
man.
zone,
Chase him.
or he
Yeah.
chases too much out of the zone. Adjusting to a quarterback is like what? What does that mean? It's not like there's a spot where he can't throw the ball.
We'll blitz him more. I don't know.
Okay, I mean,
What are his tendencies when he gets the ball? Does he look always
little
look off
skedaddle
left?
that he has where he
like
does
what
the
are,
run
what are the
around.
things he's tipping?
I
Well,
guess
he
I
can't
look
throw
at it,
going to his left.
And dude,
That's for sure.
I look at it
That's
more
so
as like the quarterback is adjusting to the defense as opposed to the other way around. And with his, as you love to put it, his S2 cognition
Sure.
Moxie,
is
sure.
the way he's
Nice.
processing information. I am very bullish on what he's going to be able to do with those adjustments.
Yeah, no, I'm also bullish, but I do think that I'm sorry,
Shout out
Steiny.
Sandra.
I know you're looking to get out of here.
Yes,
you're looking
I am.
to get up out of here.
You can
and-
go. You know the
Thank
deal.
you very-
You can
Yeah.
always go.
So
What's the deal?
I don't have to make a big production out of it.
No.
we used to have a line.
Is that what you've been
you
trying to
came up
tell me for like a while now?
months.
I mean,
My bad.
You just if you got somewhere to be, go ahead.
All right, have a great
and
one, guys.
Goo can stay, and yeah, it's all good here.
The thing
Yeah,
about
everybody's welcome.
Brock Purdy,
Whenever you want to be here.
my man. I'm wondering about the way he's going to deal with pressure, and I'm not just picking on the play where he got hurt, but he held the ball too long in that
The
spot.
Dallas game, he made some mistakes he got away
Yes.
with. That's every
If I'm a
quarterback,
defensive
but I'm telling
coordinator,
you,
if I'm a DC, I'm looking at Brock Purdy, and I'm going to try and see how many different fronts and looks and blitzes and angles, how many things can I throw at this kid because he's still a very young player.
No doubt. And that's why I just use Schmidt, Willard, just with you're right. There's more on tape, and they're going to try to take advantage of it.
But Mark is right in terms of adjustments because Casey Schmidt came out on fire. And opposing teams are like, guys, I don't know if you
his
noticed,
chase rate's
but
over 50%.
he swings everything.
Like if you throw the ball in the strike zone, you're doing yourself a disservice.
They swing when they see white, right?
Yeah.
Soon as it leaves that swamp.
He'll be fine though. He'll be fine. I mean, he got brought up because there was injury situation, and so they needed him to come up. And they knew that his glove was going to be great and that his hitting was going to be a work in progress. I remember in the middle of that 2-week run he had, the Giants, I mean, Gabe Kapler said it publicly. He's like, the struggles are coming.
Do it right.
Yeah. Obviously,
you got him.
Casey's struggles are on the way.
Dude, you got him.
And they were.
I'm tracking the package, and the struggle will be here tomorrow.
We have looked into the future.
Dude,
and
you got
Casey
that has he heard that?
Oh, he has. He did it for him.
I did it to
Oh, my
him.
goodness.
And he sort of gave a, do I do that? And then he goes, but that's well played.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Hey, you
It
made
was
little
really
Daryl's
good.
day. We were driving
What's
Friday.
up?
He made the Willard and Dibs show.
We
with
had to
Dan
shout him out.
Brzezinski.
Oh, hell
Yeah.
yeah. Hell yeah.
When
love
I do it, it ain't nothing.
I
When
know.
you guys did it, he was like,
He was actually on your show.
Yeah, I was like,
and
well.
we mentioned him and we got more credit. I like it like
It's
that.
afternoon drive.
Dude,
You
I'm
get
looking
that.
at you guys.
No, it was cool because the scouting report, and we talked to Podzinski, and he's like, I would love to go 0, 10, and 10.
Man.
That's the way he sees himself, not as a scorer, but as
I
like
heard that, and it
assistant
sounded like
rebound
he
guy.
meant it. But the last thing about Kapler, you got to give him credit, right? Whatever you think is spitting out, whatever, you got to give that man credit. And if you look at his career record here in SF, I'm just saying, I got to give that. That ain't what you. This ain't Philly Kapler.
Well, so
it's working right now.
Okay, so you're touching on a couple things
Oh
here.
my God!
First
man.
of all, I go back to the opening press conference when he was hired, and Farhan literally said, and it's funny because it's such like a spreadsheet, and I know that bothers some people, but he's like, our data shows that people, when they're given a second chance, are enacting what they learned from their first one,
That's
and you're
deep.
going to get better results than what. That's how he answered the question when people were like, this wasn't very good in Philly. And he's like, we think you're going to get a better manager here than you got in Philly. That's number one. But number two, you're actually touching on, I think, what we're going to talk about here in just a second with regard to the Chris Paul trade, which is people, I think, all weekend long were talking with each other and going, Warrior fans, we get it. Like, you can't root for Chris Paul. You just don't like Chris Paul. And so I threw out this question, which is, how much should fan thought, opinion, fans' likes and dislikes be taken into account when roster building? And the answer for me is pretty much not at all. Because just how you dislike Chris right now, if the Warriors start off 11-2, you're going to love Chris Paul. Because y'all hated Farhan and Gabe at the start of the season. Now they're on one heater, and you can't find one person to say one bad thing about either one of them.
Well, because you're watching the games, though,
Right.
and we watched 162 when they won 107,
Yep.
and we thought, and I was like, oh, that's a fluke, and that was later after. But now, dude, I'm telling. Steiny was laughing. Conforto, sign me. If there were 9 at bats of his, I just like him, Dibs. I like watching them. But you got Wade, all these guys, Slater, they can do it at any different time of the game. So now I'm like, oh, Farhan, this is what your vision was. Not that you're perfect.
Right.
Not that I trust DeSclafani, because I feel like they can use armor too.
He's
but
shaky.
He's shaky.
It's an approach as much as it is a philosophy.
It's
And
Estrada.
the
They got
approach is
dudes.
try to lift the ball, backspin it, and basically, other than situations, swing for the fences. And that is the approach. And so they found hitters who have a natural ability to do that. Lamont Wade Jr., Yastrzemski, these are guys whose swing plane,
darn it,
I think,
man.
lends itself to that approach.
It's also
That's well
it's
said.
funny that Casey Schmidt came up and was such a thing because he's literally the one guy who does what they don't want guys to
Right.
do. Like, they're
And it ain't over for him.
No, not at all.
He was, but
I mean, the fact that Matos has just walked into the big leagues and like, I'm going to
I've been here for years.
I'm going to get a walk every other at bat. I'm going to bat flip when I do a walk.
I'm so strong enough. I'm going to get it through the whole
but I think what they understand, don't you guys agree? They're also a 7-game losing streak away from being blamed again.
All right.
Yeah, that's the nature of it, though.
Right, right. So that's
and off to Toronto and New York, and if you come home off a 1-5 trip, then it's all bad.
But nothing scares me just from their vantage point anymore. Dibs, they play smart baseball. Are they perfect? No.
Defense is better. The base running is way better. The pitching is not yet better. But we talked about trade deadline, and you think about they can do it.
They can do it.
Yeah. Well, they have to do it. They have no choice.
Man, So, again, obviously we all can decide, or we already know they need a starter. But, dude, I'm watching like, damn, maybe last year, which ended up, Dibs, 500. It didn't feel like a 500 year, but that could have been the anomaly. Like,
could be, and that's what Mark and I was just joking earlier because Mark had that last week, and I was like, oh god, it's gonna be a long show if that's what we're coming with. But if they win,
for real,
if they win 95 or 90, whatever, if they win something in the 90s, then yeah, you look at last year, and I do think Mark is right, and he got it from me that the 107 probably was more like a 98, and last year's 81 was more like an 89.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes the win total's not totally reflective of the way it looked or the way it felt. And 107, yeah, were they the best team in Giants history? Probably not, but they were a damn good team. And last year was better than 500, should have been, but it wasn't. And this year's team is trending toward, 92 and 70 right now?
Man, and like I said, I watch a lot of baseball because of the fantasy element, and I love the game. But I'm watching Correa, and it's not his fault. I'm like, oh my God, this is the epitome of sometimes stuff just happens. You don't understand it.
Yeah.
I was screaming from rooftops. All of us were in the Bay. You weren't.
No doubt.
And now look at him.
Well, look at Aaron Judge. He might be done for the year.
But I feel like if
he's
in a Giant uniform, he wouldn't have. But you're right. But that wouldn't happen if he were in a Giant
uniform. But his toe wouldn't have got hurt?
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe he would have hurt something else on opening day. To me, that's not a reason to have not signed Aaron Judge. But
no, but it is a little bit more like
you got from missing on those two.
And don't forget letting Rodon go.
Oh, my. That one.
I don't even think he's pitched yet.
He ain't even threw a pitch.
Yeah. So
Rhodes died. I was sitting there like, oh, they're done.
No,
we don't know, guys. That's the beauty of sports. It's the real reality show.
And I think that speaks to one thing that fans hate, but I support that teams go for. No one ever wants to hear it, but the word is flexibility. It's what the Warriors just did. It's what the Giants have consistently done.
Now, are we talking financial flexibility?
Contract, all of it,
both. It's the same thing. Okay. And so we call it, I think you even did 20 minutes ago, called it penny pinching.
Yeah. But I hate it from a Warrior standpoint.
Well, they didn't really save any money this year. They're going to save money in the long run.
All right.
And again, unless you believe that Jordan Poole can someday be an NBA 1, then I think you have to at least understand the deal. You don't have to support it. You got to I understand it. I don't like Chris Paul either, but I understand it.
What did you make of the? I think we got the set. You guys have played on your show of. It was a year ago. Dre saying he couldn't stand CP3.
Yeah, it was 3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years. So that's nothing, right? Because LeBron and CP got a relationship, and to Curry, they wouldn't have said, hey, we know these guys don't like each other. Dibs is not fond of Goo and bring him on without not knowing, hey, Dre, you good with CP3?
Yeah, we talked about this last week in terms of the NBA especially, like all of the rivalry. Like if GP2 and Dylan Brooks, if GP2 doesn't like Dylan Brooks, I get it. He tried to rip your head off when you were going to the hoop. That's different than me shimmy shaking you or trash talking you or tweet this or Instagram that. All of that is just professional currency. So I don't think that Draymond or Steph, heck, Clay probably doesn't even know who CP3 is. He's out on his boat somewhere. But
well, he better be in a gym this summer.
Well, I would hope so. But to that point, I don't think that, and I made this point to Mark last week. So Draymond Green punched LeBron James in the genitals, and now they're both in France on vacation together.
Wow.
So if that doesn't tell you like the nature of all of these feuds, then of course he doesn't hate CP3.
Yeah. And Mark, I got to tell you, because Steiny just brought it up to my attention, or somebody on YouTube hit both of them. as soon as Jordan Poole was traded, I'm like, just hurry up and tell us what the details are of the Draymond Green's new contract with the Warriors. He's not going anywhere. When I drive home, I water the grass, or I do try to help. Well, I don't help with the homework, but if I'm thinking now, would he pull a move if somebody did Vivek throw hella money at him, as the kids say? Would he do that to the Warriors? There's no way he would do that.
I don't.
They've had your back.
I don't see it.
Every turn.
I don't see it.
For you to go take, I understand. I was like, "Go, it's money."
Well, who's had his back?
The team, the Warriors.
But who's had his back more than any other person?
Steph.
Bob Myers. And Bob not there anymore.
Yeah, but
so I do think that as we're looking at the balance sheet, and I think you're right. If I'm Draymond, it's like Bob was my number one guy in this organization, and he's gone. And Sacramento wants to give me 4 years and $120 million, and Joe wants to give me 3 and $80.
I
mean,
think
if that's what it comes down to,
I don't think that's where we are.
And I'm taking the 40. Yeah.
I don't think that's where we are. I think that this.
I don't either, but I'm saying hypothetically that could be the way it goes.
I think this started on the 5-yard line.
So we're right. Quarterback sneak and we're in.
Right. If this is like about a couple bucks here or there, I bet the Warriors will do it. I think you get a week like this where it's just feeding frenzy for NBA rumors, and there's nothing anybody can do to stop them because they can't announce what may already be factual. Mark Stein has twice reported that the whole league believes the Warriors and Draymond.
Woj and Wendy.
But that's
and I love you,
I
Mark,
mean,
but
like you're going to say things that are going to get attention.
If you're Draymond, Mark, is there a dollar figure? Is money that big of a component to where it could get you out of a Warrior uniform?
I mean, money always seems to drive everything.
I'm asking.
Depends how much money.
Yeah.
He did say he wanted to ride out with the guys he rode in with. So unless the Warriors are way, way lower than another team, I do take him at his word.
It's like you said, Goo. To me, if he were to leave.
Oh, my gosh, man.
That's the most egg on the face of the Warriors in the Joe Lacob era. Period.
It would almost be more than egg.
Period. Yes. I mean,
a whole omelet.
If you think about the way that played, it's not just the fact that you dealt Jordan Poole for a 38-year-old, and many will think that the reason you did that was because of Draymond Green.
Oh, man.
It's not just that. It's also that your coach and your general manager have publicly stated, we are not a title contender if we do not have that guy. And then suddenly you don't have that guy. These are things that you don't say out loud if you think that the caboose is loose. You know what I mean? So if that were to happen, then I think it would speak to a level of incompetence I've never seen this Warrior group have.
That's well put. And I don't think we even have a comp to where we could say player A stabbed his team in the back after them putting up with whatever comes with putting up with Draymond Green.
Yeah, I just it really wouldn't. Would it even make sense for Draymond? I mean,
well, why are you represented by Clutch? Because to me, that means he's got fangs, he's got a brand, and he wants every ounce of money off of that tree. Because I feel like he didn't need to go that route, and I'm not saying he did it for clout, to be in with LeBron, to do a contract that it sounds pretty cut and dry if he were going to remain a Warrior.
But you're trying to get every last drop is what you're doing, which is why
what if you can't do that for the Warriors and somebody that has more?
Well, you have more leverage now than you've had in the past year if you're Draymond Green. You opt out, you're going to test the waters, and then you let the team know, hey, I don't want to be here with Jordan Poole. That's a well-known fact.
Problem, Dre.
So they get rid of Jordan Poole. And it doesn't mean that he loses his leverage. He actually gains leverage.
Oh, man.
If you thought you were going to lose him, would you make that deal? The one that they just made, if you're the Warriors. If you thought you were going to lose Draymond Green.
No, I would have rolled the dice on Poole
in his future.
Exactly.
I don't think they would have either. Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow, brother.
All right, Willard and Dibs next.